So, good morning all. You will have to say good morning back. Okay. So, we will go continue with the lesson what we have seen today. Platen, what is a platen? So, platen here, it is said to be in letterpress printing. Platen is a board which is pressed onto the back of the paper to get the impression from the type. Understood? So, it was made of wooden, later it was made of steel. Okay. So, you need to remember the Gutenberg press could print 250 sheets. Okay, 250 sheets per. Okay, it could print 250 sheets on one side per hour. Okay, and actually how many characters were there? 26 characters of the Roman alphabet, and devised a way of moving them. Understood? That is called a platen. Now the pages from here they will be asking 1 marks. Okay, so pages of Gutenberg Bible, the first printed book in Europe. Gutenberg printed about 180 copies. You know that 180 copies in 3 years. So 180 copies. Gutenberg printed 180 copies in 3 years, of which more than 50 have survived. Okay, mathadalla or look damage aayirukku. Understood? Now look at these pages, Gutenberg's Bible. You will have to look at this page. They were not just products of new technology. Okay, new technology irundalum, the text was printed in the new Gutenberg press with a metal type. Okay, so what type he had used? Metal type, but the borders were carefully designed. Border lame handmade la carefully designed pannirukanga. Though it is printed in the machine, new technology la, it was it was illustrated by hand by artist. That is very important. No two copies were the same. Kandipa oru copy ko innoru copy ko they have made some variation. Purida? Every page of each copy was different. Even when two copies look similar, a careful comparison will reveal the difference. Elites everywhere preferred the lack of uniformity. It is the very important thing. There shouldn't be any kind of uniformity. Purida? Enna நம்ம கிட்ட இருக்கிற ப்ராடக்ட் யார்கிட்டயும் இல்லை அப்படினாலே இட்ஸ் a kind of they strongly believed in that. Okay, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் தான் வச்சிருக்கணும். இந்த ட்ரெஸ் யார்கிட்டயுமே கிடையாது, இந்த டிஷர்ட் யார்கிட்டயுமே கிடையாது. Like that they wanted to maintain a kind of uniqueness. So Gutenberg had used that. Understood? Now what they possessed they could be claimed as unique. Okay, so the thing is this had two functions. It added to color to the page. Number one, it added color to the page and highlighted the all holy words to emphasize their significance. Significance all about importance. இப்போ holy words அப்படின்னா பைபிள் அப்படின்னாலே நிறைய கேரக்டர்ஸ் வரும். நிறைய கேரக்டர்ஸ் காமன் பீப்புள்ல இருந்து பெக்கர்ல இருந்து ஓகே மேபி த லேம்னா யாரு டிசேபிள்டு சொல்கிறோம்ல அந்த மாதிரியான ஆட்கள்ல இருந்து ஜீசஸ் கிரைஸ்ட். ஸோ அப்போது நாட் ஆல் ஆர் சேம். ஆல் ஆர் சேம்னா ஆல் ஆர் ஹியூமன் பீயிங்ஸ் அண்ட் ஹீ இஸ் த காட். அது வந்து he had highlighted. ஓகே, but the color on every page of the text was added by hand. Okay, அதெல்லாம் ஹேண்டில் தான் ஆட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. Gutenberg printed the text in black. It's a very important question. He had used black, leaving spaces where the color could be filled in later. Generally he had used black color. Black color தான் யூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. Very important 1 mark. Now so this is the page, a printer's workshop, 16th century. So here you should know these two. 1 marks la kandipa kepanga. Okay, so compositor அப்படினா the person who composes the text for printing. அது அழகா கம்போஸ் பண்ணி வைப்பாங்க இல்ல. ஓகே, அவர் தான் compositor. ஓகே, அந்த டெக்ஸ்ட்லாம் வச்சுட்டு அப்புறம் தான் they will start printing work. Galley அப்படினா the metal frame. Galley is nothing but metal frame in which types are laid. Okay, and the text composed. Galley. Understood? What is called proofreading? Proofreading na enna? What do you mean by proofreading? Proofreading na enna ya? Mistakes find out பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல, that is called proofreaders. Okay, so the printers are turning the screens of the press and near them proofreaders are at work. Okay, printed material they will just look into that. If there is any mistake they will again give it for correction கொடுப்பாங்க. அவங்க தான் proofreaders. Compositor na யாரு? Who are called compositor? Compositor அப்படின்னா the person who composes. Okay, and galley, metal frame. Galley is nothing but metal frame. Okay. The print revolution and its impact. What was the print revolution? What was the print revolution? It's a very important question. Okay, generally it was not just a development, a new way of producing books. It transformed the lives of people. Generally, you can also see there are questions 2 marks la eppadi keppaanga. What are the impacts of print? Print ala innada what are the changes have made அப்படினா you could easily say it transformed the lives of people. Do you understand? நிறைய ஜனங்களுடைய வாழ்க்கையை மாத்தி இருக்கு. Most of the people have started reading. See, western culture la evlo advantages, developments nadandalum, we in one corner of world we could read what is happening, what methodology they have used, what principle they have followed. Understood? So which will automatically create an impact. நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில create பண்ணோம் இல்லையா அந்த தாக்கம். Okay, இல்லைன்னா நமக்கு இப்போ there is no print, there is no textbook, there is no these many syllabus. நம்ம எப்படி French Revolutionலாம் படிச்சிருக்க முடியும் if there were no print? Okay, print இல்லை அப்படின்னா நமக்கு scientific inventions, we will know nothing. Understood? Without print. So automatically print transformed the lives of people, changing their relationship to information and knowledge. அவங்களோட ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்பை எது கூட மாத்திருச்சு? Information and knowledge. Understood? Oh my god. Okay, and changing their relationship, information and knowledge, institutions and authorities. So it had changed in so many ways. It influenced popular perceptions and opened up new ways of looking at things. Okay, so அதனால் வரைக்கும் ஜனங்க விஷயங்களை பார்த்ததை விட நீ knowledgeable ஒரு விஷயத்தை பார்க்கறது it is different. See, the moment you have understood about PM, president, election process, இது வரைக்கும் நீ சின்ன வயசுல இருந்து ஓட்டு போடுறாங்க, that is how you know as a kid. But நீ once election process எல்லாம் பார்த்த பிறகு எலெக்ஷன்ல இவ்வளவு விஷயம் இருக்கான்றதை you will understand, right? That is what the popular perceptions and opened up new ways of looking at things. புது விதமா பார்க்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறாங்க after the print. Understood? It's common and easy. A new reading public. Okay, so with the printing press generally என்னென்ன நடக்கும் அப்படின்னா ballads, you need to know ballads. So book flooded the market, all those are okay. New reading public emerged. Ballads அப்படின்னா recited and folk. Access to books created a new culture of reading. Earlier reading was restricted to the elites. Now when you talk about mania na எல்லாருமே படிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. It is happening with all the people. Generally speaking, ballads. So என்ன பண்ணாங்க, earlier reading was restricted to elites. Only படிச்சவங்க மட்டும் தான், ரொம்ப படிச்சவங்க, rich people only had used books. But now it has become usual with common people. Generally common people என்ன பண்ணாங்க, they lived in the world of oral culture. They heard sacred texts read out, ballads recited. Okay, ballad அப்படின்னா a historical account or folk tale, கதை மாதிரியே பாடுவாங்க இல்லையா. இப்போ தெருக்கூத்தெல்லாம் you might have watched. Okay, நீங்க பார்த்துருப்பீங்களா தெருக்கூத்து எப்படி நடக்குது? It is happening in villages. புரியுதா? It's a kind of ballad அப்படின்னா ஏதோ ஒரு கதையை in the form of song they will tell to the people. அந்த மாதிரி oral culture தான் இருந்துச்சு. Is it clear? Because they don't know, they are all illiterates. ஏன்னா பிரிண்ட் கிடையாது, படிப்பு அதெல்லாம் தெரியாது, ஒன்லி இப்படிலாம் நடக்குதான் அப்படின்னு புரிஞ்சுக்குப்பாங்க, ஒன்லி த லாங்குவேஜ், தட்ஸ் ஆல். ஓகே, அந்த மாதிரி தான் ஷேரிங் இருந்துச்சு. நவ் knowledge was transferred orally. Understood? So people collectively heard a story or saw a performance, as you will see in chapter 8, all those. Now expensive, but they could be produced in sufficient numbers. Now before the age of print என்ன ஆயிடுச்சு? Before the age of print, books were not only expensive, but they could not be produced in sufficient numbers. ஒன்று, the number was very much limited. கம்மியாக இருந்ததால ரொம்ப காஸ்ட்லியாக இருந்துச்சு. So these common people could not afford it. அதான் reason. Now books could reach out to wider section of the people. If earlier there was a hearing public, now a reading public came into being. That's all. எத்தனை பேர் ஆர்வமாக என்ன கேட்டாங்களோ all those people have now become a reading people. புரிஞ்சுதா? Why it was so costly? The number was very limited, so it was costly. Common people could not afford it. After the arrival of printing press, it has become ரொம்ப wide ranging la பண்ணிட்டாங்கல. You have seen already in the previous class, 180 copies in 3 years. But in the mid 15th century என்னாச்சு? 20 million. But in the 17th century 200 million. So there was such a great boom with the printing press. No, it is available for even common people. Okay. Now, but the transition was not so simple. Books could be read only by literates and the rates of literacy in most European countries were very low till the 20th century. 20th century வரைக்கும் அங்கேயே literacy rate கம்மியாக தான் இருந்திருக்கு. Not only Indians. புரியுதா? நம்மளோட கொஞ்சம் செஞ்சுரிக்கு முன்னாடி தான் they have got development. Okay. To do this, they had to keep in mind the wider reach of the printed work. Even those who did not read could, certainly enjoy listening to the books or all those. What do you mean by tavern? What is taverns? Taverns in towns? People, okay, it's a tavern அப்படினா ஒரு relaxing area. Okay, they will generally go for, people gather to drink alcohol. ஒரு மாதிரி ஒரு food street மாதிரின்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. Food street na everything will be available. You can just go relax. Okay, now religious debates. What do you mean by religious debates? Religious debates. So here, what is shown in the figure? What is shown in the figure? The goddess of wisdom. What is goddess of wisdom? A, Minerva. Okay, Minerva, the goddess of wisdom. Mercury, the messenger god. Okay, also symbolizing the reason. The women in the foreground na munadi. Okay, the women in the foreground holding plaques with the portraits of 6 pioneer printers, different countries. In the middle ground of the left figure encircled. This is Gutenberg. Okay, this is Gutenberg. This can be asked in 1 mark. Minerva and Mercury. Minerva, the goddess of wisdom. Okay, and Mercury, the messenger god. Understood? So because they are describing this picture like the printing press descending from heaven. அது ஏதோ ஒரு சொர்க்கத்துல இருந்து வந்த ஒரு விஷயமா they are considering it because it is creating lot of impacts இல்ல அவங்களோட லைஃப்ல நிறைய impacts, positive impacts கிரியேட் பண்றதால they all believed this, it is from heaven. God தந்த ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய gift-ஆ நினைக்கிறாங்க. Understood? Now, not everyone welcomed the printed books. அப்படினா ஏதோ religious ஏதோ ஒரு problem இருக்கு. Some section of the people felt there is a problem. Okay, அது என்ன ப்ராப்ளம்னா, and those who did not also had fears about it. Many were apprehensive of the effects that the easier access to the printed word and the wider circulation of books could have on people's mind. ஜனங்களோட மைண்டை ஈஸியாக கரெக்ட் பண்ணிடும்னு நினைக்கிறாங்க. ஜென்ரலாக இப்போ most of your parents are afraid to give you mobile phones. The reason is quite simple. You may be good, but the contents available in the website is not good. That is their fear. அதான அவங்களோட fear. ஒரு common parents. When you become a parent, you will understand the pain. Okay, we want our children to be a child till certain age. Okay, that is the real thing happening everywhere. அந்த மாதிரி தான் அந்த காலத்துல the people are very much apprehensive. They are not okay with the printing. Okay, many were apprehensive of the effects that the easier access to print, okay, wider circulation. It was feared that if there was no control over what was printed and read, then rebellious. What is the shortcomings of printing nu kekkalam? What are the disadvantages nu kekkalam? Illa printing or disadvantage? Why certain section of the people are apprehensive to printing appdin keta, you should write these. Okay, you should write these. Here you could start. It was feared that if there was no control over what was printed and read, then rebellious and irreligious thoughts might spread. இதா அவங்களோட பயம். எல்லா ஜனங்களையும் தூண்டி விடுற மாதிரி இருக்குல்ல, இன்டியூஸ் பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்குல்ல, ரிபெல்லியஸ் நேச்சர் ஆயிடுவாங்க பீப்புள். அண்ட் ஆல்சோ இட் இஸ் irreligious. இப்போ நம்ம ஒரு முஸ்லிம்ஸ் இருக்கு, கிறிஸ்டியன்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. முஸ்லிம்ஸ் they will use Quran, Christians they will use Bible content. இப்போ I want my daughter or a son to be as per the text given in the Bible. பைபிளில் கொடுத்துருக்க மாதிரி அவங்க நடக்கணும்னு நினைப்போம். மேபி இன் your families அப்படி தான் நினைப்பாங்க. Generally it is a saying, we should not lie, we should not speak bad words. Okay, because it's a sin. It's a sin. Understood? So but இது எல்லாமே பிரிண்டிங்ல நடப்படுது, அதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. மார்க் உங்களுக்கு என்ன, அதெல்லாம் ஒரு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்டே இல்லை. லைஃப்ல அச்சீவ் இந்த மாதிரி பிரிண்டிங் இருந்தால் பலதரப்பட்ட மிக்ஸ்டு ஐடியாஸ் வில் கம். அப்போ children will get spoiled. They will think that okay, studies will not give us anything. Marks, there is no role for the marks. That is different. Clear? So in the மாதிரி irreligious thoughts might spread. If that happened, the authority of valuable literature would be destroyed. So அப்போ அவங்க உண்மையான எஜுகேஷன்ன்றதை மறந்துடுவாங்க. So many thoughts. அவங்களுக்கு the children, they may not know what to follow, what not to follow, தெரியாது. Okay, expressed by religious authorities and monarchs, as well as many writers and artists. This anxiety was the basis of widespread criticism of the new printed literature that had begun to circulate. Is it clear? நிறைய பேருக்கு பிரச்சனையா இருந்தது இதுதான். Number 1, it is rebellious and irreligious thoughts if there is no control. அப்போ கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணணும். பிரிண்டிங் ப்ரெஸ் ஆக்ட்னு போடுறாங்கல்ல, they don't want you to print as you want. நீ தேவைப்படுறது எல்லாமே பிரிண்ட் பண்ணிட முடியாது. that is wrong. Understood? Let us consider the implication of this one on sphere of life in early modern Europe. Okay. So printing, okay, whenever you talk about printing, எப்படி நீ ஜோஹன் குட்டன்பர்க் ஞாபகம் வச்சிருக்கியோ, similarly you should remember Martin Luther. Frequently asked question it is. Okay. So 1517, the religious reformer Martin Luther wrote 95 theses. How many theses? 95 theses criticizing many of the practices and rituals of the Roman Catholic. Roman Catholic Church oda nariya practice அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, criticize பண்றாரு. A printed copy of this was posted in the church la Wittenberg. Wittenberg is also a church in Germany. Okay, அந்த ஜெர்மனில இருக்கிற சர்ச்ல 95 theses அவர் போய் it was hung at the door. It challenged the church to debate its ideas. Luther's writing were immediately reproduced, which means in vast numbers and read widely. நிறைய பேர் அதை படிக்கிறாங்க. ஆமா, மார்ட்டின் லூதர் சொல்றது கரெக்ட் தான். We should not worship Mother Mary. She is just a human being like others. Okay, Roman Catholic அந்த தப்பு பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. He is going and making everything. Okay, clear. And this lead to a division within the church. Churchலயே ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய division. And to the beginning of Protestant Reformation. Do you understand? This year is very important. Whenever you talk about Martin Luther, it is 1517. So Luther's translation of New Testament, okay, he is mainly focusing on New Testament. There are two testaments in Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. New Testament will speak about the birth of Jesus Christ. ரெண்டுமே பேசும். New Testament ரொம்ப போல்டா எல்லாத்தையும் பேசும். அதில் வந்து கொஞ்சம் சிம்பாலிக்கா பேசும் Old Testamentல. Understood? There were two testaments in the Bible, New Testament and Old Testament. So he is mainly focusing on New Testament, sold 5,000 copies. Within a few weeks and a second edition appeared within 3 months. ரொம்ப வேகமா அவர் இதை ஸ்ப்ரெட் பண்றாரு. Protestant Reformation அப்படின்னா the 16th centuryல இந்த ரிஃபர்மேஷன் நடக்குது. A 16th century movement to reform the Catholic Church. நீ பண்ற தப்பு, Catholic Church பண்ற தப்பு. ரோமன் கேத்தலிக் சொல்லுவல RC, ஓகே, மதர் மேரியை வர்ஷிப் பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல, that is wrong அப்படின்னு சொன்னது மார்ட்டின் லூதர் தான். Okay. Of the main Protestant reformers, several traditions of anti-Catholic Christianity developed out of the movement. நிறைய பேர் என்ன பண்றாங்க, anti-Catholic Christianity, Catholics-ஐ எதிர்க்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. Understood? Now he is deeply grateful to print because see, Martin Luther was thinking about this for a very long time. ரொம்ப காலம் அவர் நினைச்சிருந்தாரு, but he couldn't do anything. அவரால் எதுவும் பண்ண முடியல. So after the arrival of print, அவர் நினைச்சதெல்லாம் பாசிபிளா மாத்திட்டார். ஓகே, at a டைம்ல எல்லாரையும் கேதர் பண்ண முடியாது, because so many threat இருக்கும்ல ரோமன் கேத்தலிக்ல இருந்து. So with the help of print, he made this possible. He made the people clear. Understood? Now he deeply grateful to the Lord. Luther said, printing is the ultimate gift of God and is the greatest one. ரொம்ப அற்புதமானது இது. It's ultimate gift இதுதான் God கிட்ட இருந்து எனக்கு அப்படின்ற மாதிரி he felt it. Okay. And several scholars in fact think that print brought about a new intellectual atmosphere and helped spread the new ideas and led to the Reformation. நிறைய இன்டெலிஜென்ஸ் என்ன நினைக்கிறாங்க, printing is something good. ஜனங்களுக்கு படிப்பறிவே இல்லைன்னா அவங்களால ரொம்ப ரேஷனலாக திங்க் பண்ண முடியாது. இட்ஸ் ட்ரூ. ஓகே, யூ cannot deal with the, I am not telling that completely illiterate-க்கு அறிவே இல்லைன்னு சொல்ல வரல. They have got knowledge, but அதை அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்க மாட்டாங்க. But when you read books, automatically it stimulates your brain. It increases your intelligence level. புரியுதா? That is proven. Understood? Now these are the things were happened during Martin Luther's period. Okay. Print and dissent. Now generally இதெல்லாம் நடக்குது இல்ல, மார்ட்டின் லூதர் தான் the one who had opposed the Roman Catholic. அவர் மட்டும் இல்லை. Okay. Now there is one more guy என்ன பண்றாரு, Menachio. இவரை பத்தியோ frequent questions are there, my dear. Okay, frequent questions are there. print and popular religious literature stimulated many distinctive individuals interpretations of faith. Interpretations are nothing but explanations. புரியுதா, பலவிதமான எக்ஸ்பிளனேஷன்ஸ் நடக்குது ஆஃப் ஃபெய்த் ஈவன் அமங் லிட்டில் எஜுகேட்டட் ஒர்க்கிங் பீப்புள். லிட்டில் எஜுகேட்டட் கொஞ்சம் படித்தவங்க கூட ஏய் என்னடா தப்பு அதெல்லாம் ரோமன் கத்தோலிக் நம்ம போகக்கூடாது அப்படின்ட்டு தே ஸ்டார்டட் டாக்கிங் வித் த ஹெல்ப் ஆஃப் பிரிண்ட். நவ் Manaccio, a miller in Italy, he was owning a mill, okay, so he was like well to do. Began to read books that were available in his locality. He reinterpreted books படிச்சு அவர் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கார், he reinterpreted the Bible. He reinterpreted the message of the Bible, formulated a view of God and creation that enraged Roman Catholic Church. Enraged, infuriated, okay, அவங்களை ரொம்ப கோவப்படுத்துச்சு. என்ன பண்ணுச்சு, it was infuriated them. They were not at all happy. யார் ஹாப்பியா இல்லை, Roman Catholic Church. When the Roman Church began its inquisition to repress heretical ideas. Heretical, what they have considered heretical beliefs which do not follow the accepted teachings of the church. Church ஒரு விஷயத்தை சொல்லுதுல்ல, if our ideas are different from the church ideas, it is considered as heretical. Understood? அது வந்து ஹெரிட்டிக்கல்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. இன்குவிசிஷன் a former Roman Catholic court for identifying and punishing heretics. heretics அப்படின்னா பைபிள் சொல்றதையோ இல்லை அந்த சர்ச் சொல்றதையோ யாரெல்லாம் the one who is coming against to that are called heretics. அவங்கள பனிஷ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு செப்பரேட்டாக கோர்ட் they were running. Understood? ஸோ இதெல்லாம் ரோமன் கேத்தலிக்கோட விஷயம். Manaccio was hauled up twice and ultimately executed. அவரை கடைசியாக கொண்டுட்டாங்க. It's a very important thing. Understood? The Roman Church, troubled by such efforts of popular readings and questions of faith, imposed severe controls over publishers. அப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணிட்டாங்க, initially it was Martin Luther and next it was Manaccio. Okay, Martin Luther and Manaccio, they both were attacking the principles in Roman Catholic Church. அப்போ இதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணிட்டாங்க ரோமன் கேத்தலிக், இப்படியே விட்டால் வேலைக்கு ஆகாது, will have to have some measures, ஏதோ ஒன்று பண்ணோம்ல. So they have put severe control over publishers and booksellers and began to maintain, என்ன மெயின்டைன் பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கிறாங்க, index of prohibited books from 1558. index of prohibitedனா தடை செய்யப்பட்ட. Understood? So they are maintaining an index. இந்த books எல்லாம் நீங்க you are not supposed to read. Understood? Because இது எல்லாமே it will criticize their practices. அவங்களோட ப்ராக்டிஸை கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணுறதால they are not very much happy in publishing that. Okay, so they are called seditious. seditiousனு சொல்லுவோம்டா. seditiousனா action, speech, writing that is seen opposing the government. கவர்மெண்ட்டையே தாக்குற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா that is called seditious. ரிலீஜியஸாக பேசணும்னா that is called heretics, heretical. heretics அப்படின்னா the one who is deviating the church topics, heretics. Okay. Satiety, the state of being fulfilled much beyond the point of satisfaction. Satiety. Understood? Now, macabre dance, which means இது ஒண்ணுமே இல்லடா, the skeletal figures control the printer and his workers define and dictate what is to be done, what is to be produced. So இந்த மாதிரி it is full of devils, so don't believe everything what is printed அப்படின்ற மாதிரி தான் they have created all these. Macabre dance. Okay. Fear of printing was dramatized in visual representations of the time. அது ஜனங்களுக்கு புரிய வைக்கணும்னா it is not a good one, அது எல்லாமே கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மாதிரி devils ஆனது. Okay, it is not the correct one, don't follow it என்றதுக்காக they have presented all these visuals. Okay, இதெல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு அவங்க printing அந்த பக்கம் போக மாட்டாங்கன்ற மாதிரி. Okay, fear of the book, you know what it is. Okay, and then the reading mania again. So again reading mania, generally we have seen no or reading mania paatholla. What was that? reading mania la inga enada paathom, what we have seen, a new reading mania. We have seen what are the impacts created on the people, jananga mela enna impacts irunduchu, and we have spoken about oral what to say, oral knowledge transfer. Okay, hearing public, all those we have seen. Now taverns, ballads, adala pathi da paathom. And then religious debates. Religious debates அப்படினாலே you should remember Martin Luther, then Manaccio. Okay, two different personalities. Okay, and What about Minerva? Minerva, the goddess of wisdom. Mercury, the messenger god. Okay, and then what Martin Luther had done? Protestant Reformation. How many copies he had printed? 5,000. 5,000 copies of Old Testament. Old Testament 5,000 copies. Okay, he had sorry, New Testament, I am sorry. There were two different testaments, Old Testament and New Testament. If you see Bible, Old Testament கொஞ்சம் பெருசா இருக்கும், New Testament கம்மியா இருக்கும். Understood? It speaks about the birth and the brought up of Jesus Christ. It completely speaks about Jesus Christ. Okay, Old Testamentல நிறைய incidents இருக்கும். Okay, together it is called the Bible. Now what is heretical? The beliefs which do not follow the accepted teaching. Generally churchக்குன்னு ஒரு காலமா அப்படின்ற மாதிரி கேள்விப்படுவோம்ல. So okay, we have got the tradition. அதுக்கு against, for example, heretics, he is a heretic. Generally when something goes wrong at home, definitely I think he will question. Okay, he is called a heretic. That's called heretical. அந்த மாதிரி பண்றவங்கள வந்து they will not accept at that time. Okay, they don't want anyone to question them. Okay, they are not happy with that. Understood? What Roman Catholic Church started to maintain? What they were maintaining? Okay, index of prohibited books. Okay, they have maintained some books from 1558. Macabre dance, you will have to know, because it's a skeletal figures control the printer and his workers. Okay, so and interesting woodcut, the coming of print is associated with the end of the world. அவ்வளவுதான். Generally people used to say கலிகாலம் வந்துருச்சு, உலகம் அழிய போகுது, அதான் இப்படிலாம் நடக்குது, அந்த மாதிரிலாம் they will say, right? So they have told like that. Okay, end of the world. And also what is Gorkali? Again end of the world, Gorkali. Okay, end of the world. Now reading mania. In reading mania what you will see? Though through the 17th and 18th century literacy rates went up in most parts of the Europe, churches of different denominations set up schools in villages. Okay, churches of different places set up schools carrying literacy to peasants and artisans. By the end of the 18th century, in some parts of the Europe, literacy rates were high as 60 to 80%. 60 to 80%. Now here it's very important to know about almanac and chapbook. Whenever it is reading mania na reading was done ரொம்ப widespread பண்ணிருக்காங்க. எப்படி பண்ணிருக்காங்க? How, under what manner it is done na? Because of chapbook. Okay, and அங்க இருக்கிற reading mania you can combine and write, because the circulation was limited, only the rich could afford. Okay, now it has become common for the common people. அந்த மாதிரிலாம் எழுதலாம். And also you add this reading mania na நிறைய பேர், most of the people have started reading. How come? எப்படி அவங்களால முடிஞ்சதுன்னா because of the arrival of chapbook. Chapbook is nothing but describe pocket sized books. Okay, that are sold by traveling peddlers called chapmen. Peddlers. Okay, traveling peddlers called chapmen. These became okay. So almanacs, chapbook is nothing but a term used to describe pocket-sized book. Very important, 1 mark. And almanac is nothing but an annual publication giving astronomical data. See, it's a kind of calendar, my dear. Okay, and much else that was the importance in everyday life of people. Understood? Okay, chapbook, it was sold by peddlers called chapmen. Okay, now in the reading mania you should write that. And periodical press developed from the early 18th century combining information about current affairs, entertainment, newspapers and journals carried information about wars and trades as well as news of developments in other places. Okay, generally newspapers, all those. Idellame the reasons for the reading mania, but most importantly you should write almanac and chapbooks. That should be there. Okay. Similarly, the ideas of scientists and philosophers now became more accessible to the common people. Ancient, see, these are the other reasons you should. Now, you can write about current affairs with entertainment, newspapers, journals, and also scientists and philosophers became more accessible to common people. Understood? So these many points you could mention. Scientists like Isaac Newton began to publish their discoveries. They could influence a much wider circle of scientifically minded readers. Writings and thinkers. See all these. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he had helped in French Revolution, right? So those points you could write. Thus their ideas about science and reason rationality found their way into popular literature. Reading many abdinale, you write about almanac and chapbook, and idalandan the topics they have mostly covered. So which has got overwhelming support from people. Okay, generally the eppadi in the look how it had become this much famous abdina, these are the basic things and scientific things people really wanted to know. Ma idila you printing culture and the French Revolution, they will definitely ask. Printing culture and the French Revolution. Okay, what we were seeing? See how the print had created, because there is also a very important question. Yeah, print with French Revolution, they will definitely ask. Print popularized the ideas or enlightenment of thinkers. Okay, only to the core you just remember the points, that's enough. First one, in case of French Revolution, you can say print first of all popularized the ideas, enlightenment thinkers. Okay, collectively their writings provided critical, those things you can write. Okay. Number two, print created a new culture of dialogue and debate. So before the age of print there was no dialogue, there were no debate la nadakadhu, because people they don't know anything. See, you must know something. உனக்கு எதனா கொஞ்சமாச்சும் தெரிஞ்சாதான் you can talk. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி பிரிண்டிங்கும் இல்லை, there was no reading. இப்போ reading வந்ததால people are much more aware of what's happening. So they have got different dialogues and debates. Okay, third, by the 1780s there was an outpouring of literature that mocked that royalty and criticized their morality. This you could write. So third one, outpouring of literature that mocked. அந்த அளவுக்கு printing was developed, so royalty பத்தி அவங்க ரொம்ப அழகா criticize பண்றாங்க. Okay, they are making the people clear. And questions about the existing social order. இதெல்லாம் once upon a time இல்லாமல் இருந்துச்சு. Whatever the king had imposed, king என்ன நினைக்கிறாரோ அதன்படி தான் all the people have followed it. But after the arrival of print, people started discussing, debating so many things. Okay, they are very clear now. How do we look at these arguments? Like this. What is this? The nobility and the common people before the French Revolution, a cartoon of the late 18th century. Okay. See how they were depicted. The cartoon shows how the ordinary people, peasants, artisans and workers had a hard time while the nobility enjoyed life and oppressed them. Do you understand? See, most of the people were illiterate. In the French Revolution, to create a kind of anger against nobility மேலையும், okay, peasant அப்படின்ற the clergy group மேலையும், they wanted to create some anger. அது இந்த print மூலமா தான் they have done this. Okay, this shows how the nobility have enjoyed, how the peasants are suffering. At least பார்த்த உடனே they could understand. Okay, this is what happening. அப்பதான் அவனுக்கு கோவம் வரும், they will come and fight with us. Then only he will do a kind of rebellion. Okay, otherwise அவனுக்கு ஒண்ணுமே தெரியாது. So 19th century, it's very important question coming to the topic. 19th century, children, women and workers. Here you should talk about, as primary education became compulsory from the late 19th century, children became an important category of readers. 2 marks கேக்குறாங்க. Printing you have read so many. How children are educated? Okay, குழந்தைங்க எப்படி இருந்தாங்க பார்க்கலாம். Children became an important category of readers. Production of school textbook. Generally children அப்படின்னா school textbook, because in 19th century it has become compulsory. Okay, compulsory from the late 19th century, children became an important category because school textbooks became critical for the publishing industry. Okay, and a children's press devoted to literature for children alone was set up in France in 1857. It's very important. This press published the works as well as the old fairy tales. The Grimm brothers in Germany spent years compiling traditional folk tales gathered from peasants. Okay, whenever you talk about children, do remember Grimm brothers. Their help for printing is immense. ரொம்ப முக்கியமான வேலையை பண்ணிருக்காங்க. They have collected fairy tales. They have toured villages. Grimm brothers, okay, peasants. They wanted to create the very essence of the German culture எப்படி இருக்கும் அப்படின்றத பத்தி ரிசர்ச் பண்ணாங்க அவங்க. How many volumes they have produced? 33 volume dictionary. Okay, what they collected was edited before the stories were published, in a collection in 1812. Anything that was considered unsuitable for children or would appear vulgar to the elites was not included in the published version. Rural folk tales thus acquired a new form. In this way, print recorded old tales but also changed them. Understood? So whenever you talk about print with children, what are the points you should remember? Print with children enna nenikiro nee? First thing, primary education had become compulsory for children. Now school textbook became critical. School textbook romba mukkiyama vandurucha. Then what is that? A children's press devoted to literature for children alone was set up in France. குழந்தைகளுக்காகவே தனியா 1857 ல வந்துருச்சு. Okay, that you should remember. This press published new works as well as old fairy tales. Appa you should talk about Grimm brothers. Okay, so about children there was a question in 3 mark. Okay, now see, women become the readers as well as writers. Children அப்படினா அவங்க ஸ்கூலுக்கு போணும், ஸ்கூல் டெக்ஸ்ட் புக் ரொம்ப important. Now women, they have become the readers as well as writers. Penny magazines, what do you know about penny magazines? As a manuals teaching proper behavior of housekeeping. It is also a 2 mark. For reading அப்படினா generally, if the question is about reading, you can write anything in this from the chapter. If how reading had changed a lot of lives அப்படினு கேட்டாங்கன்னா, you can write children, women, உங்களுக்கு என்னென்ன பாயிண்ட்ஸ் தெரியுமோ all the relevant points you can write. Okay, but if they are asking in specific, then you will have to write that particular question. In case if it is about women அப்படினாலே you should remember what? Penny magazine. Okay, women is all about penny magazines especially meant for women. It is for women. What it was told, behavior and housekeeping. As a lady, how you should be. Okay. And when novels began to be written in 19th century, women were seen as important readers. So see, women were both readers and writers. நிறைய படிச்சாங்க, நிறைய பேர் எழுதவும் செஞ்சாங்க. Okay. And some of the best known novelists women. Please do remember this, very important 1 mark. Okay. So Jane Austen, okay, Bronte sisters, then George Eliot. Okay, they are very important. Now their writings became important in defining new type of women, a person with will, strength and of personality, determination of the power to think. Women அப்படினாலே இதெல்லாம் எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல, அவங்களுக்கு ஈக்குவாலிட்டி கொடுக்கணும், all those. So please be clear with this. Name the 3 people. Jane Austen, Bronte sisters and George Eliot. Very important. About women அப்படினா உங்களுக்கு தெரியணும். Okay. And reading libraries had been in existence from the 17th century onwards. In the 19th century, lending libraries in England became instruments for educating white collar works. Okay. Lending libraries. So it has become very common. Okay. Became instrument for educating white collar workers, artisans and lower middle class people. Understood? About libraries you read, but adu romba important. Okay. Those things. Hey, this one is front piece of penny magazine. This is a penny magazine. Do remember, the mari andhuchuna, it's a penny magazine. It is meant for women. Now further innovations, what you could say further innovations? See, generally you can read, yeah, nothing wrong. In 1920s England, popular works were sold in cheap series called shilling series. Ma, each and every line could be a question, yeah. So see, Richard M. Hoe of New York. So far you were you know Johann Gutenberg in case of printing. அதுக்கு ஜோஹன் குட்டன்பர்க்கு முன்னாடி யாரு? மார்க்கோ போலோ. அவருக்கு முன்னாடி China and Japan. Okay, woodblock printing. Now you should remember Richard M. Hoe in case of printing. Richard M. Hoe from New York. So he had perfected power driven cylindrical press. It's very important 1 mark. Okay. Now this could do capable of printing 8000 sheets per ஒரு மணி நேரத்துல 8000 sheets பண்ணும். Because it's power driven with the help of electricity. What about Johann Gutenberg's 250 sheets? Okay, one side, very good. One side per hour. Okay. This press was particularly useful for printing newspapers. Generally, அதை எதுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்கமா? Newspapers-க்கு. In the late 19th century, the offset press was developed which could print up to 6 colors at a time. Okay. So பாருங்க, late 19th century அப்படின்னா towards 2000. Okay, sorry, towards 900. Okay, the 19th century. அப்போ ஓரளவுக்கு ஒரு 1850s அப்புறமா they started using offset pressலாம் வந்திருக்கு. Offset press எதுக்காக? Colors to have more colors. That's offset press. Understood? Now from the turn of the 20th century, electrically operated presses accelerated printing operation. Kandipaave electrical na nariya irundirukum printing, and improved the quality of plates became better. Automatic paper reels and photoelectric controls of the color register were introduced. The accumulation of several individual mechanical improvements transformed the appearance of printed text. Now printers and publishers continuously developed new strategies to sell their products. Now it's very important. 19th century periodicals serialized important novels. Okay, important novels which gave birth to a particular way of writing novels. In 1920s in England, popular works were sold cheap series called shilling series. It's very important. Cheap series called shilling series. Okay. So England la romba common ah irundhuchu. Desk cover or the book jacket is also 20th century innovation. மா innovations அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா இதெல்லாமே சொல்லுங்கள். What are the innovations of printing அப்படின்னா you say you should talk about further innovations அப்படின்னா நீ ஜோஹன் குட்டன்பர்க்ல ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிக்கோ, அதுவே ஒரு இன்னோவேஷன் தானே யூரோப்பில். தென் நியூயார்க் சிட்டியில் தே ரிச்சர்ட் எம் ஹோ பவர் ட்ரிவன் அண்ட் ஆஃப்செட் ப்ரெஸ் 6 colors at a time. Then you should come here. 19th century periodical serialized, generally it is meant for newspaper, 8,000 sheets per hour. Then in England cheap series called shilling series also have come. And also dust cover, அதுக்கு முன்னாடி புக்ஸ்க்கெல்லாம் கவர்லாம் கிடையாது, அப்போ தான் அவங்க ஒன்றொன்னா okay they started using dust cover they are using, or the book jacket is also 20th century innovation. Okay, so இதெல்லாமே 20th century, இந்த இயரில் 20th century innovations. With the onset of the Great Depression in 1930s, publishers feared the decline in the book purchases. To sustain buying, they brought cheap paper book editions. Ma, when the cheap paper book edition came? Because there was a Great Depression. Good. Great Depression க்கு அப்புறமா they have brought cheap paperback editions. அப்படின்னா Great Depression நம்மளோட எசென்ஷியலே இல்லைன்னும் பொழுது who will buy the books and read? அப்போ they have brought cheap paperback editions. Advertisements railway station la my India and the world of printing, you know this. India had a very rich and old tradition of handwritten manuscripts, Sanskrit, all these you need to know. Vernacular languages or local languages. Ma, here is what Gita Govind Jayadeva. So Gita Govind அப்படின்னா it's a frequently asked question. Gita Govind Jayadev. This is a palm leaf handwritten manuscript in accordion format. இது என்ன ஃபார்மேட்டில் இருக்கு? accordion formatல palm leaf edition it is. Okay, now pages from Diwan of Hazaf. Okay, ma Diwan அப்படின்னா அந்த காலத்தில் rulers from Bengal, ஒரு கொஞ்சம் ஏரியாவில் அவங்க ரூல் பண்ணுவாங்க, Diwans. Rig Veda, this manuscript was produced in 18th century in Malayalam script. It is in Malayalam script. இங்கெல்லாம் 1 mark வருதோ just அதை பார்த்து வச்சுக்கோ. You could how print comes to India? It is also very important. Printing press first came to Goa with Portuguese missionaries. அவங்க தான் முதல்ல print எடுத்துட்டு வராங்க இந்தியாக்குள்ள. Okay, Jesuit priest lost Konkani is a language, printed several tracts. Okay, 1674 about 50 books had been printed in Konkani, Kannada languages. Catholic priest printed first Tamil. Who printed first Tamil book? Catholic. At Cochin. First Malayalam, ma you write it separately. Write it separately, especially in this, you know, this paragraph should be written separately so you could remember it quickly. The English language press did not grow in India till quite late. Even though the English East India Company began to import presses from the late 17th century, first one, James Augustus Hickey, 1780, began to edit Bengal Gazette. Okay, see, it's a weekly magazine, you know, it itself a commercial paper, open to all but influenced by none, which means English newspapers. இப்போவே our people are not preferring it. அப்போ எப்படி படிச்சிருவாங்க? Understood? So it was private English enterprise, proud of its independence for, you know, from colonial influence, that began English printing in India. இதான் English printing முதல்ல வந்துச்சு. Hickey published a lot of advertisements, including those that related to import and sale of slaves. He is criticizing the British officials. Okay, he published a lot of gossip, நிறைய gossip பேசுறாரு. Okay, about the company's senior officials. Enraged by this, கோவம் வருது. Governor Warren Hastings, very important. Who was the governor there? Warren Hastings. அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, எங்க லாங்குவேஜ்ல வச்சு எங்களையே தாக்குறியா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு persecuted Hickey. Okay, he had punished him and encouraged the publication of officially sanctioned newspapers that could counter the flow of information that damaged the image of the colonial government. By the close of the 18th century, a number of newspapers, journals appeared in print. All these you could see. Here it is very important. There were Indians too who began to publish Indian newspapers. The first to appear was the Weekly Bengal Gazette, brought out by Gangadhar Bhattacharya, who was close to Ram Mohan Roy. Gangadhar Bhattacharya, அவர் தான் எடிட் பண்ணது James Augustus Hickey, but brought out அப்படின்னும் போது Gangadhar Bhattacharya is related to Ram Mohan Roy. So religious reforms, I think these things you could read. தெரியும் இல்லையா, what are the areas you will have to focus here? See, printed tracts and newspapers not only spread the new ideas. Generally, printing will spread new ideas, but they shaped the nature of the debate. A wider public could now participate in these public discussion, express their views. New ideas emerged through the clashes of opinions. Okay, now here, most importantly, you should remember intense controversy. There was a problem between social and religious reformers. Hindu Orthodox என்ன பண்றாங்க? What are they doing? Matters like Hindus, religious reforms. Religious nu vandale about printing, you should talk about Hindus and Muslims. That was the only two religions at that time. Okay. Widow immolation, monotheism, Brahmanical priesthood, idolatry. Okay. In Bengal, the debate developed. All these things were happening. You should write. Ram Mohan Roy published Sambat Kaumudi. From 1821, the Hindu Orthodoxy commissioned the Samachar Chandrika to oppose his opinions. See, he is publishing a book. அவர் பப்ளிஷ் பண்ண புக் என்ன எப்போ 1821, பட் அவரோட ஒப்பீனியனை எப்படி அப்போஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க? சமாச்சார் சந்திரிகா. ஓகே, வாட் இஸ் ஜாம் ஐ ஜஹான் nama, Samshul Akbar. Okay, Persian newspapers that you need to know. Then in the same year, a Gujarati newspaper, that is Bombay Samachar. About ulama you should know, they are nothing but legal scholars of Islam. Islam oda legal scholars நிறைய படிச்சவங்க, இஸ்லாமோட டாக்டரின்ஸ். அவங்க என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க, they are very much anxious about the collapse of Muslim. எல்லா இடத்துலையும் முஸ்லீம் டைனாஸ்டி அழிஞ்சிட்டே வருது. Even in India, before the arrival of British Muslim emperors இருந்தாங்கல்ல, all the dynasties were collapsed. They are not okay with that. They feared that the colonial rulers would encourage conversion, change the Muslim personal laws. Okay, what is their fear? What Muslims fear? Obviously, ஏன்னா எல்லா இடத்துலையும் பிரிண்டிங் ப்ரெஸ் யூரோப்பியன்ஸ் தானே வந்துட்டாங்க. இவங்க பாட்டுக்கு எல்லாரையும் கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. They will interfere in our religious விஷயத்தெல்லாம் ஏதோ ஒரு சேஞ்சஸ் கொண்டு வந்துருவாங்கன்னு they are feared. Okay, Muslim personal laws. To counter this, இதை கவுண்டர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்க? They have used cheap lithographic presses, published Persian and Urdu translations. The Deoband Seminary எப்பமா கிரியேட் பண்ணுறாங்க? Founded in 1867, very important. Thousands upon thousands of fatwas telling Muslim readers how to conduct themselves in their everyday life. Fatwas ன்றவங்க யாரு? Again, a legal pronouncement of Islamic law usually given by Mufti to clarify issues. அதில் நல்லா படித்தவங்க, அந்த இஸ்லாமிக் டாக்டரினை நல்லா படித்தவங்க உலாமா, ஏதாச்சும் டவுட் வருது கிளாரிஃபை பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா ஃபேட்வாஸ் தான். ஓகே, all these you can write. Urdu print helped them conduct them battles in public. Among Hindus too, print encouraged the reading of religious texts, especially in vernacular languages, all those. It's quite common, important than already நீ படிச்சிருப்ப. All these, okay, from Calcutta 1810, Naval Kishore Press at Lucknow, Sri Venkateshwar Press in Bombay, very important. Lucknow and Bombay. So religious texts, all these you could see. Why newspapers? Read that separately. New forms of publication you can read. Raja Ravi Verma produced images of mass circulation. Poor wood engravers who made wood blocks set up shop near the letterpress. All those frequently asked question it is. Okay, Raja Ritudwaj rescuing Princess Madalsa from the captivity of demons. Print by Ravi Verma. hey in which press it was done, ரவி வர்மாக்கே தனியா press இருந்துச்சு அப்படியும் கேட்கலாம். Okay, women and print, that you again you know what it is. Okay, here you should know the important characters. Hey, but not all the families were liberal. Conservative Hindus believed that literate girl would be widowed, and Muslims feared that educated women would be corrupted by reading. Okay, all those. Okay, that was their fear. Hindus and Muslims, they are not happy with the printing in India. Okay, now Muslim family of North India enna pannirukanga, who secretly learned to read and write in Urdu. Her family wanted to read in Arabic Quran, but she did not understand. Okay, that is the first point you should write. Then in East Bengal, the early 19th century, Rashundari Devi, a young married girl in a very orthodox household, learned to read in the secrecy of her kitchen. Kitchen abdinale Rashundara Devi, East Bengal. What is East Bengal? Okay, because Bangladesh is Muslim dominated country. Okay, நிறைய முஸ்லிம்ஸ் இருப்பாங்க பங்களாதேஷ்ல, அதனால தான் அது ஈஸ்ட் பாகிஸ்தானே சொல்லுவாங்க அதை. ஓகே, ஸோ வெஸ்ட் பெங்கால்னு சொல்கிறதுக்கான ரீசன் அதுதான். Since social reformers நிறைய பேர் நிறைய பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, but still a few Bengali women like Kailas Bhashini Devi, okay, wrote the highlighting the experience of women. What are the problems they are facing in their daily life, all those. Okay, here you should know Hindu women, especially widows. Maharashtra yaarma irukanga, Tarabai Shinde and Pandita Ramabai. Kailas Bhashini is also a Bengali woman who is writing about the experiences of women. What are they are kept in ignorance, imprisoned at home, forced to do hard domestic labor. Okay, always the responsibility is on mother. She has to rise up the children, she has to do everything, all the domestic chores, but her work is not valued. That is their problem. They are expressing that in the print. Now Begum Rukia Shakwat Hossain, a noted educationist, literary figure. Okay, so she is strongly condemning men withholding education from women in the name of religion. That is their problem. Understood? So Urdu, Tamil, Bengali, Marathi print culture developed in early. Hindi printing began seriously only from, it's a very important, Hindi printing எப்போ தொடங்குச்சு, began seriously from 1870s. 1870 னா என்ன சொல்லுவோம், 1780 னா என்ன, 1780 James Augustus Hickey had edited. இங்கே 1870 னா இது Hindi printing began in India. Okay, so these things I think you can take care. Okay, Calcutta, the Batala was devoted to the printing of popular books. Gorkali, the end of the world, colored woodcut, all these. What is this? An Indian couple, black and white. What it shows, the move towards women's education in the late 19th century created anxiety about the breakdown of traditional family roles. Why it's very important. படிச்சவங்க ஜெனரலா என்ன பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க, they created anxiety about the breakdown of traditional family roles. ஃபேமிலியில் அவங்க ட்ரெடிஷ்னலாக பண்ணிட்டு வந்த ரோல்ஸ் எல்லாம் மறந்துட்டு they started acting so smart like this. It's a hookah. Okay, women is smoking in a hookah. So இதுதான் அவங்க பயந்தது Hindu family. Okay, when they are educated they will get widowed, they will speak too much, அந்த மாதிரிலாம். Okay, now about this, a European couple sitting on a chair, 19th century. Okay, print and popular. Now finally with this we are completing it. Gulamkiri. What is Gulamkiri? Jyotiba Phule. Okay, they were taught about caste discrimination. அதுக்கோ ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டண்ட்டாக இருந்துச்சு issues. caste ப்ராப்ளம்னாலே ஜோதிபாய் பியூலே இருப்பார்மா. he was said to be மகாராஷ்டிராவில் அந்த நார்த் இந்தியாலாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா he was such a celebrated personality, ஜோதிபாய் பியூலே. Okay, and the Maratha pioneer of low caste protest movements. low caste அப்படினாலே அவர் தான். Okay, also B.R. Ambedkar மே இருக்கிறாரு, is known well known, but Jyotibai Phule also. அவர் எழுதின புக் தான் என்ன, குலாம்கிரி in 1871. And 20th century Ambedkar in Maharashtra and E.V. Ramasamy Nayakar in Madras, better known as Periyar, wrote powerful on caste, and their writings were read by people all over India. So printing and caste discrimination, you should remember these three. One is Jyotibai Phule and his book Gulamkiri. Then in again Maharashtra, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In Madras, E.V. Ramasamy Nayakar. Okay. So, who is he? Lakshminath Besbarua, who was a doyen of modern Assamic literature. Doyen அப்படினா என்ன? A prominent person, ரொம்ப important இருப்பாங்கல்ல. They are called doyen. That is Grandma's Tale is among the notable works. What is this work? Buri Av Sadhu, Grandma's Tale is among his notable works. He penned the popular song of Assam, O Mar Apune Desh. Okay. O Mar Apune Desh, O my beloved land. Learn about this. Last year they have asked the print, but this time they may give the content in the box. Understood? What is this? Buri R Sadhu, it's nothing but Grandma's Tale. Notable works, he penned the popular song of Assam. What is the popular song? O Mar Apunar Desh, my beloved land. Basically is from Assam. Okay, that's all. So Sakshi, Kavitayam, all those you just take care. Okay, with this we are completing the chapter. Yeah. Thank you so much for your attention. Finally you read this. Okay, what is the act is given here? Thomas Macaulay, a liberal colonial official, formulated new rules and restored the earlier freedoms. Okay, Calcutta Supreme Court passed a regulation to control press freedom. All these. When this Vernacular Press Act came into being? 1878 the Vernacular Press Act was passed. It's a very important 1 mark question. Okay. Then printing machinery confiscated. Then finally Balagangadhara Tilak. When Punjab revolutionaries were deported in 1907, Balagangadhara Tilak wrote with great sympathy about them in his Kesari. This led to his imprisonment in 1908. This is the final point, provoking in turn widespread protest all over India. Very important 1 mark. Okay, that's all. Liberty of the press, liberty of speech, freedom of association. Idellame Gandhi said in 1922. Very important, the last content in this chapter. Generally last time last kuduthukra page la they have asked so many 1 marks. So please be clear with this. Okay, that's all. Thank you all.